Among the bathroom items that I am about to mention here, there are at least a few things sitting right inside your house at this moment, and one of them could cause a fire or explosion, if not handled in time. You'd be awesome if you subscribed and liked this video. 1. Wall-hung cabinets without backing reinforcement. There is a type of vanity being advertised as the perfect solution for small bathrooms. Lightweight, floating, and making floor mopping as easy as a breeze. But standing behind that slender appearance is a question that very few homebuyers bother to ask before signing a construction contract. Whether the wall behind it has enough strength to carry hundreds of pounds. People are mesmerized by the image of the cabinet, looking as if it were flying, not touching the floor at all, which perfectly fits the currently prevailing minimalist style. The problem lies in the fact that when doing a DIY renovation or hiring cheap contractor crews, they usually just screw the cabinet directly into standard drywall, completely failing to calculate and reinforce the load-bearing framing studs beforehand. The quartz countertop itself is already heavy, plus the sink filled with water, plus the habit of leaning hands on the edge of the cabinet. Every time one stands up or young children leaning their bodies against it to look in the mirror. After about 12 to 18 months, the wall begins to show diagonal shear cracks. The cabinet sags completely at one corner, the silicone caulk line between the countertop and the wall opens up, and water begins to leak silently down into the base of the wall. Mr. John's family in Phoenix is an example I cannot forget. Renovating the bathroom in 2025, he bought a stone floating vanity weighing over 170 pounds online to install himself. Early this year, his 6-year-old son swung his body up on the cabinet to reach for his toothbrush. The entire cabinet system tore away from the drywall, pulling and snapping the water supply line in half, causing water to flood and soak the entire first floor. The insurance damage went up to over $12,000. Wall-hung cabinets are still an excellent design if the reinforcement is done correctly right from the wall framing stage, using solid wood blocking or load-bearing steel studs. If you cannot tear open the wall to reinforce it, abandon the idea of making a floating cabinet entirely. Choose a cabinet with slender load-bearing iron legs in the front, or a traditional base cabinet with the toe kick recessed deep inside to create a visual illusion that the cabinet is floating. Beautiful yet safe is still better than beautiful yet gambling. Whether the wall is sturdy is one thing. But there's another equally important question, the answer to which lies within the cupboard door that no one has ever lifted to look at. 2. Painted wood cabinets without good moisture resistance. I used to advise many clients that just looking at a beautiful paint job means you can rest assured about half of it is done. Looking back now, I see that I was wrong. The paint layer is only what you see, while the thing that decides the lifespan of the entire cabinet lies in the wood core inside, something no one checks before buying. A survey from contractors in California once pointed out that 62% of vanities priced under $600 purchased at big box retail chains require major repairs or new replacements before their third year of use. That number is not coincidental. It accurately reflects the way low-priced cabinet lines are manufactured. Mass-produced, low-end cabinet lines usually use cheap engineered wood cores, a type of low-quality plywood or particle board, and then only spray paint on the exposed outer surfaces, completely ignoring the backside and hidden corners. Vapor from hot and cold showers just creeps into those gaps every single day. The wood core absorbs water and swells up, pushing the outer paint layer to peel and crack gradually over time. The cabinet rots from the inside out, and once it has rotted, there is no way to remediate it. Have you ever noticed the underside or the back of the drawer box of the cabinet you intend to buy? That is exactly the place that needs to be inspected first, not the glossy front face in the advertisement photos. Mr. Mark in Austin once invested in a gorgeous sage green painted cabinet set for his Airbnb apartment, solely to take photos to attract renters. After 18 months of welcoming guests continuously, the base of the cabinet began to disintegrate like cookies soaked in water. He had to both compensate the booking guests and spend double the money to replace it with a new cabinet right in the middle of the peak season, the worst time to repair anything. Not all painted wood cabinets are bad. If treated with premium polyurethane paint and equipped with a standard compliant waterproof primer layer, they still have a stable lifespan for many years. Before buying, do exactly one thing. Flip the cabinet up to check the underside and the back of the drawer box to see if there is a waterproof coating or not. If conditions permit, prioritize marine-grade plywood or molded waterproof engineered materials. They are a bit more expensive, but will never force you to compensate renters in the middle of the peak season. 3. Vessel sinks on narrow vanities. Have you ever stood in front of a sink and felt like you had to tense your shoulders and bend your wrists at a strange angle just to wash your face? If so, it is highly likely that your house is using a vessel sink installed on a vanity that is too narrow for its size. Bowl-shaped sinks usually have an average wall height of 5 to 6 inches. When placed on a countertop with a standard height of about 34 to 36 inches, the total height is pushed up beyond what is necessary. With narrow vanities under 30 inches, the sink also takes up almost all of the remaining countertop surface area. The consequence is not just a matter of aesthetics. Users are forced to stand in a posture with tensed shoulders, a hunched back, and hands turned upward at a completely unnatural angle every time they wash their face. Water flows from the wrists backward down to the elbows, soaking the sleeves and splashing all over the floor nearly every single time it is used. The countertop, which is already narrow, is completely occupied by the sink, leaving no place to put a bottle of hand soap or a toothbrush. This is not an isolated case of a few picky families. A recent user behavior survey on the housing community platform Who's ranked vessel sinks in the top 3 interior items that cause homeowners the most regret after completing a renovation. Top 3, not a long drawn-out list of minor mistakes, but 3 specific names, and the vessel sink is present among them. You can still use a vessel sink if you accept designing a custom vanity system specifically, lowering the vanity height by about 6 inches to compensate for the height of the sink, or switching to a semi-recessed sink instead of a completely floating bowl sink. But for the majority of families, the most practical choice remains staying loyal to the traditional undermount sink. You wipe water straight down into the sink after use. There is no need to mop the floor every day, and your body does not have to pay the price for a design that only looks beautiful in photographs taken from the top down. The perfume bottle or the tube of toothpaste placed right on your bathroom countertop? There is a type of ultra-luxurious material that is afraid of exactly those things. 4. High-porosity natural marble. Marble is limestone. In terms of chemical nature, it is precisely calcium carbonate, a structure with high porosity and extreme sensitivity to anything acidic. This is not a matter of aesthetics or personal taste. This is a chemical reaction occurring silently every day on your bathroom countertop. Mouthwash, toothpaste, makeup remover, or simply hairspray splattered out when styling in the morning. All can corrode the marble surface, creating dull patches called etching, or leaving stained spots that cannot be cleaned by any conventional cleaning agent. No major accident is needed. Just daily living habits are enough to ruin an expensive countertop. The Natural Stone Institute of America always recommends that a specialized sealer must be used for marble in the bathroom and resealed regularly once a year. This is not an optional suggestion. It is a mandatory requirement if you want to keep the original beauty of the stone slab past a few years. Market trends also accurately reflect this reality. In a recent trend survey, the majority of interior designers in the U.S. confirmed that they have actively redirected clients from natural marble to new generation engineered quartz, primarily to reduce warranty complaints from the homeowners themselves after a few months of use. Marble remains the supreme symbol of luxury. No one denies that. If you accept the periodic maintenance costs and view the blemishes of time as a natural characteristic rather than a defect, you can absolutely use it. But if you want a similar appearance without having to worry every time you set a perfume bottle down on the counter, choose engineered quartz from popular American brands or large-format porcelain slabs. If you still insist on using real marble, at least choose a honed finish instead of a polished one, because a matte surface hides etched marks much better than a glossy surface. 5. In-drawer electrical outlets. This year, the smart bathroom trend exploded strongly across all U.S. furniture e-commerce sites. One of the most sought-after items is a hidden outlet inside a vanity drawer box, letting hair dryers, curling irons, and electric shavers disappear completely from the countertop. It sounds convenient and looks absolutely neat, but behind that neatness is a risk that very few salespeople bother to state bluntly when advising customers. The bathroom is the place with the highest humidity in the house, even higher than the kitchen when taking hot showers. When you have just finished using a hairdryer that is still scorching hot and close the drawer immediately to make it look neat. Heat is trapped inside a cramped space with almost no path for air dissipation. That is exactly the ideal condition for heat buildup and a smoldering fire hazard. Not to mention, the power cord inside must continuously flex and bend every time you pull open and close the drawer dozens of times a week. Over a long period, the wire insulation wears down, potentially contacting the metal drawer slide system of the cabinet and causing electrical leakage to the entire cabinet frame. A recent home safety report from the National Fire Protection Association of the United States notes a significant increase in bathroom fires related to built-in electrical equipment compared to previous periods, largely stemming from homemade, substandard electrical outlets widely sold on e-commerce platforms at low prices and extremely easy to install without requiring a professional electrician. The solution is not to completely abandon the idea of hiding power cords, because that demand is legitimate and reasonable. If you have the budget, choose a premium cabinet system that comes integrated with an automatic power cutoff mechanism upon closing the drawer, along with a cable management track system that meets national electrical codes. If your budget is more limited, the safest way is to build a fixed vertical cabinet tower with a hinged door instead of a mobile drawer that continuously flexes the cord, combined with a GFCI outlet fixed to the interior wall of the cabinet. Beauty is a pursuit, but the safety of the entire family must always come first. Now look upward above the countertop, where a design that is currently hottest on social media fails immediately upon meeting the real living habits of a family. 6. Open shelf floating cabinets without drawers. Do you believe that a cabinet with only 3 neatly rolled towels and a scented candle jar is the real image of a bathroom being used daily? That is precisely the illusion that the Scandinavian minimalist style on social media is planting in the minds of many homebuyers. And that illusion only exists for the exact moment a professional stylist stands behind staging every camera angle for the most beautiful photo. The reality of the average American family's life is entirely far from what appears on Pinterest. Hair dryers, cosmetic boxes, spare toilet paper rolls, floor cleaner bottles, razors, and half-used toothpaste all need a place every single day. When you choose open shelves instead of enclosed drawers, you are gambling that you will never own more items than what is visually pleasing enough to display. That gamble, according to my experience advising dozens of families, is almost always lost right in the first month of use. Emily and David, a young couple in Seattle, once personally installed an open shelf vanity for their primary bathroom because they wanted to have a healing feeling every morning upon waking up, true to the spirit they saw in home design videos. After exactly 1 week, that minimalist shelf turned into a storage place for nearly 50 miscellaneous items, from half-used cosmetics to dietary supplements, and even their child's toys. They had to call a contractor to rebuild the entire enclosed drawer system immediately afterward, costing an extra amount of money that should not have been spent if they had chosen the right design from the first time. Open shelving is not necessarily a completely bad idea. It is extremely suitable for a powder room, where guests only drop in to wash their hands for a few minutes and have no need for storing the bulky personal belongings of the whole family. For a primary bathroom, a much more reasonable solution is a hybrid design, where the majority of the cabinet area consists of enclosed drawers to hide daily clutter, leaving exactly one small shelf compartment at the very bottom for purely decorative purposes. You still get that lightweight feeling, like in the photos, without having to live in an actual mess every time you step into the bathroom in the morning. 7. Natural wood countertops. Wood is an organic material. It never stops expanding and contracting with the surrounding temperature and humidity, no matter how expensive the wood you choose. Bathrooms, on the other hand, are the most volatile spaces in the house, experiencing extreme temperature fluctuations within minutes of someone taking a hot shower and opening the window. Placing these two things side by side in a confined space creates a battle that wood almost always loses in the long run. Clients are often captivated by the organic spa style in design magazines, firmly believing that they possess enough discipline to wipe the countertop dry with a microfiber cloth immediately after each use, and then regularly apply maintenance oil once every 6 months exactly according to the instructions. In theory, it sounds very reasonable and feasible. In real life, with a family that has a husband rushing to work every morning and a few young children hastily brushing their teeth and washing their faces before school time, That discipline almost never exists past the first few weeks after installation. There is a case in Denver that I still often bring up every time a client demands to install a wood countertop, the story of Ms. Sarah. Infatuated with the eco-spa style in magazines, she turned a deaf ear to the upfront, straightforward advice of the installer from the very beginning. With a husband who is often in a rush and 2 young children in the house, her expensive walnut countertop turned into a blotchy, mold-stained old cutting board after less than 2 years of use. A reputable American consumer testing organization once ranked natural wood among the least sustainable materials for bathroom surfaces, scoring only 2 out of 10 points for moisture durability, a number low enough to make one ponder before spending money. Water pooling around the faucet base, the bottoms of soap bottles left for a long time, the joints between laminated wood blocks. All are places where black mold begins to form and eat deep into the wood grain, being both aesthetically unpleasing and truly unhygienic for the whole family. If you live alone, are extremely meticulous, and are willing to maintain that strict maintenance habit for many years, natural wood can still function well in the bathroom. For the majority of the remaining families, a much more practical choice is wood-grained quartz or wood-look porcelain slabs, keeping the exact same warm beauty without requiring you to live by a rigid maintenance schedule once every 6 months. There is an industrial, strong, and character-filled material that silently leaves stark white streaks after just a few times water splashes on it and dries naturally. 8. Matte black metal countertops. By this year, many people have begun to grow weary of the familiar faux stone veining that has appeared in a series of houses for an entire decade. They want something with more character and strength to create their own signature mark. Powder-coated matte black metal countertops have emerged like a new wave in unique home tour videos, bringing the exact spirit of modern industrial design that many young homeowners are searching for in their living spaces. The problem lies in the quality of the tap water in many regions across the U.S., where hard water contains quite high levels of calcium and magnesium, particularly common in the Midwest states and some areas of the South. Every time water splashes onto the black metal countertop and dries on its own without being wiped immediately, it leaves behind stark white limescale residue streaks, showing up very clearly against the strongly contrasting dark background. The matte finish, moreover, is extremely difficult to wipe clean using conventional harsh cleaning agents because the chemicals will strip away the characteristic flat finish that is the most appealing point of this material while leaving scratches that are clearly visible under evening lights. After just a few months of use, the countertop that was once luxurious now looks filthy at all times and even has a sensation of slight rust around the edges of the faucet, even though the material does not actually rust at all. Recent search data on major home remodeling platforms in the U.S. shows that the trend of using matte black metal tones for bathroom surfaces is declining at a very fast pace compared to when it first emerged, primarily due to the nuisances in the daily cleanup stage that users did not anticipate at all when deciding to install it for their homes. Matte black metal is not a choice that must be eliminated entirely. If your house has already installed a whole house water softener system, and you accept using specialized glass cleaner to care for the countertop nearly every single day without missing a beat, it still functions well. For the majority of families who do not have the conditions to invest in that system, a much more reasonable choice is matte black sintered stone or dark-colored quartz. They bring the exact same flat matte texture similar to metal that you are looking for but are chemically inert, do not collect limescale residue, and you can comfortably scrub them with a brush without fearing damage to the surface later on. There is a principle I always apply when advising clients. The more beautiful something looks in a top-down photograph, the more thoroughly it needs to be inspected regarding how it operates in real life. Marble, natural wood, matte black metal. All are beautiful in photos and all demand a trade-off that not everyone is ready to pay.